If you're not using the right weapon in Ghosts of Tabor, you're already at a disadvantage. So today, I'll be breaking down 10 best weapons in Ghosts of Tabor and the weapons that will win you fights, dominate raids, and make other players regret pushing you. I'm going to explain each gun is strong, when to use it, and how to win more fights with it. And trust me, some of these picks might surprise you. Let's start with number 10. Coming in number 10, we have the Desert Eagle, one of the hardest hitting pistols in Ghosts of Tabor. This thing shoots 50 AE. It holds 7 rounds of mag, and you can unlock this at Spectre 4 around 6,500 Karunas. Now, the biggest reason this pistol made the list is simple. Raw stopping power. The Desert Eagle can actually hit hard comparatively to other sidearms, which means if you land your shots, you can drop a player extremely fast. Another big advantage is that it's semi-automatic, so you can fire a follow-up shot, and if your first round doesn't finish the fight, also making another solid backup weapon when you're running a sniper or a slower primary. But the Desert Eagle definitely has some downsides. First is the magazine size. With only 7 rounds, you really can't afford to miss many shots. So if you panic fire and miss under pressure, you'll run out of ammo fast. And the second downside is the recoil. The 50 AE round kicks pretty hard, which makes the rapid fire shot a little harder to compare to lighter pistols. Now, in terms of damage, from my testing I took, leg shots do 91 and the chest shot does 26 to the player. Because of that, the Desert Eagle is one of the best high-powered secondaries, especially in close quarters, mid-fight, where you can actually land your shots. And if you can control the recoil and hit your shots, this pistol absolutely will save your life in some fights. Coming in number 9, we have the Honeybadger, one of the newest weapons they added to this wipe and easily one of the coolest weapons in the game. This rifle fires 300 AAC. You can unlock this at Spectre 4 and it costs 20k Karunas. And it runs 20 rounders or 30 rounder magazines. Right away, this gun stands out because it has a suppressor, which means you don't have to spend extra money to buy a suppressor. It already has a built-in one into the weapon, making it extremely strong and stealthy in fights. Another huge advantage is the customization. Unlike the VSS, you can put most of the attachments on this gun, from grips, sights, and side attachments, which means it makes it easier to build the way you want. When it comes to damage, the 300 AAC round absolutely shreds. The performance is similar to something like the AS VAL when it comes to close quarters and mid-range fights, but there's a couple downsides. First, the recoil control. Compared to the AS VAL, this gun can actually be a little harder to control, especially if you're holding a full auto. And just like the VAL, one of its big issues is the ammo consumption. This gun burns through ammo so quick, which means you have to bring multiple mags into raid. Now, from testing on damage, the chest, it does 9 damage, and then from the leg, it does 50 to the player. Overall, the Honeybadger is extremely strong, close to mid-range fights, especially if you want a suppressed weapon that you can fully customize. Coming at number 8, we have the G3A3. I'm going to be honest, I hate this gun with a passion, but it is insanely good. The G3A3 fires 7.62 by 51, running either 20 rounders or 30 rounder magazines that you can unlock at level 3. And the cost on this, 750 Karunas, which makes one of the cheapest, hardest hitting rifles that you can get early game. And the reason this gun made the list, it's simple. This thing absolutely shreds. Even with FMJ, 762 round can stop geared players very quickly. And even if you're running AP, it just makes it even more deadly. But here's what my problem is with the G3. So first, the barrel is extremely long. So when you're running around corners in tight areas, you can really feel the weapon shifting. And the second problem is the recoil. This thing kicks like crazy, especially if you're trying to run it full auto, which is why I personally always run this thing with semi-auto. Now, from testing, one shot to the chest does 26 damage and one shot to the legs do 83 damage to the player. Even though I personally hate running the G3, if you're early game or you don't have access to better weapons yet, this gun is absolutely a monster for its price, and you even can drop geared players if you land your shots. Coming on number 7, we have the AK Alpha, and honestly, this is probably the one most overused gun in Tabor. The AK Alpha fires 7.62 by 39. It uses 30 rounder mags and 75 drum mags. You can unlock this stuff by level 5, and it costs around 5 500 karunas. Now, the reason that this gun is so popular is because the extreme accuracy. Compared to a lot of rifles in the game, the AK Alpha just feels very stable and easy to control, which makes it strong in a lot of different fights. And if you've been playing since the early days of Tabor, you might even have the Founding Father skin for the weapon. The other huge advantage is the 75 drum mag. That thing is absolutely goated, especially on maps like Maul, where you might have to fight a ton of scavs and geared players. But it do have a couple issues with this gun. First, personally, I feel like the FMJ damage feels weaker compared to something like the AKM. It sometimes takes more shots than expect to drop your opponent unless you're landing headshots. But once you load AP rounds, this gun becomes disgusting. And honestly, some of my most frustrating deaths in Tabor have been from the AKM and the AK Alpha running AP. From testing, it takes 10 damage, a shot to the chest, and yeah, FMJ kills in the head, even with the Alton to eliminate the player. Even though I think it's still a little bit overpriced, the AK Alpha is still one of the best, most reliable rifles in the game. Coming in number 6, we have the VSS and the AS Val, two weapons that's from the same family that fired the powerful 9x39 rounds. Let's start with the VSS. This weapon can be unlocked at Spectre 3. It costs around 5k karunas and comes inherently suppressed, which makes this one of the best stealth weapons in the game. It can run 3 different magazine sizes, 10 rounders, 20 rounders, and 30 rounders, which easily is the best option if you planning to run this gun in your raids. The VSS both has semi-auto and full auto, and the 9x39 rounds hit extremely hard, making it very strong in close quarter and mid-round fights. But the downside to the VSS is that you cannot put any side attachments or grips, which makes the recoil a little bit harder to control. That's where the AS Val comes in. The AS Val is basically the most customization version of the VSS. It can be unlocked at Spectre 5. It costs around 20k karunas. And unlike the VSS, you can actually add a grip and attachment, what makes this gun much easier to control. Both weapons are extremely strong, but they do share the same weakness, and that is ammo consumption. So you definitely want to bring a lot of ammo. From testing, one shot does 10 damage to your chest and then 63 to your leg. Because of both VSS and the AS Val dominate very aggressive for close quarter and mid-range fights, their damage is suppressed shots and it deletes enemies before they even know where they're getting shot from. Coming in number 5, we have the FAL. Honestly, this is starting to become one of my favorite guns in Ghosts of Tabor. The FAL fires 7.62x51 using either 20 rounders to 30 rounder magazines. It can be unlocked at level 5 Spectre, and it costs about 25k karunas. The reason this gun is so strong, it's simple. The rounds it shoots is massive. The 7.62x51 rounds are extremely hard, which mean the gun can drop players very fast, even without running armor piercing ammo. Most of the time with this weapon, I'm usually just using FMJ because the base damage is already insane. Now, when this gun first came out, it was so strong the developers had to nerf it multiple times. The fact it is one of the guns that caused a buying limit in the store where you could only buy a certain amount of mags every hour. But even after all those nerfs, the FAL is still absolutely a monster. The biggest downside to this gun is the recoil. The kick is pretty extreme, especially if you're trying to run this thing full auto, which is one of the main ways they tried to nerf this thing. Because of that, I usually run semi-auto and keeping a couple AP rounds ready when I get into a heavy geared fight. Now, from testing, one shot does 27 damage to the chest and then it does 67 to the legs. Overall, the FAL is just extremely powerful rifle, and if you can control the recoil, this thing will delete players. Coming in number 4, we have the MCX Spear. And honestly, one of the most powerful guns in Tabor right now. The Spear fires 6.8x51 using only 20 rounders. This gun can be found in raid, even though you can buy the mags once you reach Spectre 4. Now, when this gun first started getting attention, the community was talking about it a lot, from the caliber to the real life stories of the gun and even how strong it is in game.
game. But after a few balance changes, it personally feels like the damage isn't quite what it used to be. Sometimes the performance is great, especially when I'm running AP against heavily geared players, but the FMJ, I've had fights where it feels like I'm taking more shots than expected to drop someone. And the other downside is that is only 20 round mags. Intensive fights, especially when you're fighting a 2-stack to 3-stack, you can run out of ammo super quick. From testing shots, it does 63 damage to the chest, 1 bullet, and 95 to your legs to damage the player. Even though I still have a little bit mixed performance, otherwise the MCX Spear is still a powerful rifle, and honestly, it's one of the best looking guns in the game, especially when you have the Uwu skin on it. Coming in number 3, we have the XM250, and we're getting into the heavier, juicy stuff. This monster fires 6.851 and it runs a 100 round drum mag box, making it one of the most dangerous weapons you can ever bring into a raid. But the catch is you cannot buy this gun. This is the XM250 that drops from the collector boss on Maka Mies. When he spawns, it is usually drops 3 boxes, a green key card, and some of the best armor and helmet in the game. Now, if you played Tabor a while back, you remember this gun used to be even more crazier. You could actually add a attachment grip to the top of it, and this thing would basically shoot like a dang laser. But the devs fixed that a few wipes ago, and now you can't even put grips attachments on it anymore. Because of the recoil is pretty heavy, but the 100 rounds, you still have an insane amount of firepower to work with. Honestly, there's not that many negatives about this gun besides the smallest bugs. Sometimes the ammo can't go into the loader, and that really pisses me off sometimes. Now, testing some shots, it does 27 damage to the chest, and for the legs, it does 96, and it adds bleed every time. Overall, the XM250 is absolutely a monster. If you manage to get one from the collector, you're basically walking into raids with the potential of squad wiping. Coming in number 2, we have the AWM, and honestly, this is probably one of the most frustrating guns to fight in Ghosts of Tabor. The AWM fires .338 Lapua Magnum. It uses 5 round mags, and it can be unlocked at Spectre 4, and it costs around 35k Karunas. Now, the reason this gun is so scary is because of the .33 rounds. Hits extremely hard, even with FMJ. If you snipe, you can drop a player very quick, but once you load AP, it becomes one of the most deadliest weapons in the entire game. And if you played long enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Late wipe, this is one of the most common guns you'll hear in raid, especially on Island of Tabor. A lot of players will literally bring just a sniper and barely any gear to pick off geared players from distance. And honestly, one of the reasons I personally hate this gun is extremely powerful, but the way the community use this gun makes fights very frustrating. Trying to push someone with the AMW can be extremely difficult because all it takes is one good shot and the raid is over. From testing the damage, one shot does 80 damage to the chest and legs, blacks it out completely. Even though I'm not a huge fan of this gun or using it, there's no denying it. The AWM is one of the most powerful guns in Ghosts of Tabor. Coming in number 1, we have the Barrett 50 cal. And honestly, this gun is absolutely a problem in Ghost of Tabor. The Barrett fires 50 BMG and it uses 5 rounds, and you can unlock this at Spectre 5 and it costs 75k Karuna. And the reason this gun takes the number 1 spot, it's simple. You don't even need AP for it to be very terrifying. The round is so powerful that anywhere you hit a player from chest to torso is basically GG's. And the only real chance of surviving a shot from this thing is from the arms or legs. And that's what makes this gun very annoying. Unlike some other extremely powerful weapons, the Barrett isn't found in raid only. You can actually buy this thing, which means late wipe, it starts to see this everywhere, even on smaller maps. And when someone brings a Barrett into raid, the entire lobby knows it. The moment you hear that 50 cal go off, the raid basically turns into a horror movie. The only real limit on this gun is that you cannot craft the ammo, so you have to keep buying the magazine rounds that are already in them. Now, there's no reason to test this because you know how hard this hits. And honestly, most of the time, one shot is all you need and the fight is over. This gun is extremely powerful, but I really think this needs to be found in raid only. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should the Barrett stay buyable or should it be found in raid? Before we end the video, I got a bonus weapon for you guys that I'd like to talk about, and that's the bar. This thing fires 30.06 rounds and it only has a 20 round mag, and you can unlock this at Spectre level 3 and it costs 25k coronas. If you have been playing Tabor for a while, you know this gun used to be way crazier than it used to be. Back in the day, you could actually buy the bar at level 1 and it costs 5k coronas. Once players realized this gun's had insane damage and how easy it was to drop geared players and become a huge topic in the community, so the devs eventually nerfed it by pushing it to Spectre 3, increasing the price to 25k to manage to stop the lower level players to grab it with no risk. Even though they changed it, the gun is still scary to run into. When you hear a bar go off in raid, honestly, it's similar hearing a Barrett, so you immediately have to keep your distance. The damage on this thing is still disgustingly strong, and it can drop heavily geared players surprisingly fast. If the person you know is using this, they know what they're doing. So yeah, definitely a bonus weapon that deserve a mention. That is my top 10 weapons for Ghosts of Tabor. There are honestly so many guns I could have talked about. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this. Maybe you could do the worst gun list or the best budget guns. Also, let me know if you guys agree or disagree with this list, because I really want to hear what you guys think about some of these guns that are currently in this balance of Tabor right now. If you guys enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe. If you want to see more Ghosts of Tabor content, I have been making Ghosts of Tabor content about for 3 years now, and seriously appreciate every single one of you guys. God loves you. I love you guys. And if you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out this one right here. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.